Well, happy Friday to you and your family. I've arrived back safely here in Detroit, Michigan. As you can see, I'm not in some abbatial palace somewhere, just right here in my office. Today we celebrate a special saint, Saint Irenaeus. Tomorrow we celebrate two other great saints. I have to make a personal note. Part of my reconversion was based on reading the early church, the fathers of the early church. In a special way, some of the great, what we call the sub apostolic age, those bishops and monks who wrote about the spiritual life or on theology or the life of the church in the early church. And that really helped me in my early reconversion to the faith. And today, St. Irenaeus is a special saint in that regard because St. Irenaeus, and should also make another brief note, and I'm sorry this video might be a little bit long, but as you can see, it kind of hits my heart. You can see something about the early church in terms of unity that perhaps we can learn today. It's true, in our contemporary society and church, we live in such, very fast times, and in 11 hours I can make it over to Rome, or in 9 hours I can make it back, or whatever it is. We can fly here, we can fly there, we can video chat with someone in an instant. And it would seem like in the early church that wasn't the case, but in fact it was the opposite. Saint Irenaeus was from Smyrna, which is modern day Turkey, and he moved from Smyrna, from modern day Turkey, to become the bishop of Lyon in France. Now, that's amazing. It really shows you not just the unity of theology in the early church, but the unity of practice within the early church. That there was this real organization, this worldwide organization called the church, or the Catholic Church, or the one true faith, that these Christians worked in. And we see that very clearly in Irenaeus. One of the other points about Irenaeus is his fight against the various heresies of the time. Heresies are false teachings about the faith. One of the most important ones was his fight against the Gnostics, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. At least in Italian you do gno, so Gnostics. What were the Gnostics all about? Well, they taught that the world was irredeemably wicked. So the world could not be redeemed. It was once created by God, but once the fall happened, it was irredeemably wicked. And Irenaeus said, well, hold on. We have someone named Jesus, who was not just the Messiah in the worldly sense. He was also the Son of God, the second person of the Blessed Trinity, who died on the cross and redeemed humanity, therefore redeeming the world. And that was a very important point. Irenaeus fought against many other heresies, but that was one of the most important. If you ever want to read a really good book about the various heresies that Irenaeus had to face, there's a theologian, his name was Father Hans Urs von Balthasar. As you know, Benedict XVI, a good friend of Benedict XVI, mentioned in his book, I encourage you to read his book, called The Scandal of the Incarnation. And in that book, you'll see the various heresies that Irenaeus had to fight during his time. Which leads me a little bit to the gospel today. Today we see that leopard who is sick. Jesus comes down the mountain. He doesn't stay on the mountain. He doesn't say the world is not to be redeemed. The world is so wicked, I'm just going to stay up here on the mountain and live up here with my Father, in communion with my Father. But I'll come down and do what? Heal someone. I'll redeem them. And that's the beauty that we have in Jesus' incarnation, which is a scandal in a way to the world that's wicked. Because how is it that he can redeem us? Well, he redeems us because he is God. He is actually God, the one who existed before existence existed. And through his divinity and communion with his humanity, we have been redeemed. And so we give thanks. We give thanks for men like Irenaeus, and women too, who would have died professing the true faith in the early church. We give thanks for their testimony, for their writing, that we might continue in a special way praying for the gift of unity, that we might be just as united as the early church today. Amen. Peace.